to Limbwalkers podcast from the JED TV studios on the campus of Purdue Northwest in Hammond, Indiana. Now here's your host, Will Glaros.
This is the Limbwalker podcast. And it is, you can go to Limbwalkers and, I don't know, type it in on Apple, Spotify, whatever. And why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
Why would somebody do that?
Because they want to hear the wisdom of getting the most out of their lives to go the furthest they can go, even if it's only a short distance.
So, ultimately, if you know the history here, I'm Jed, and I own the TV network and the radio stations, and Will has been doing a show called The Winner's Circle since back, 30 years or so. And I'm like, well, that's not it. We don't really care about other people. We want to know what you have to say. And he's like, oh, I don't want to do that. So this is reluctance in doing the podcast at first. And now you have glommed onto it and made it part of your overriding mission.
I have. You've given me the opportunity to spiel my thing online and have people on to talk about their successes and the great things they're doing. And when I came to you with the idea of doing a podcast and doing it about some of the skills that it takes to be successful, you opened your arms, gave me a great big, well, you're not a Greek, but a great big Greek hug. And off we went to the races with our opportunity to talk to people about good things.
One of Will and I come from the same town, same football program. He's a little bit older, but sold his company and is making some transition right now. So it has opened up some time to talk about some of the things that Will has learned. But more than anything else, I'm a slacker. I don't really enjoy the motivation talk, and I just want to do and live and go on. And to some extent, I like passive things. Well, just let it come to you. And I didn't really want to hear some of the suggestions that Will comes up with. So if he can win me over, he can win over anybody, because I'm really, in the beginning, have been a non-believer.
You're a little easier than that. You, Jim, are one of those people that is internally motivated to make things happen. You're not the kind of person that sits back, so you don't give yourself enough credit. And I think you should, because you've come a heck of a long way in your life. And you've accomplished some things that are pretty incredible, so I wouldn't shortchange yourself.
Well, I'm not trying to, any false humility here or anything. I'm just...
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's not the case. My point is that I've listened and watched, maybe other than Simon Sinek or Cam Newport, I like those two. But, I feel like I've watched a lot of bad motivational tapes and read a lot of bad motivational literature, and it's kind of turned me off. The quality has gotten way better, and it has become less of a hard sell, and people are like, well, this is what's worked for me. You don't have to take it, but this is what's worked for me. And that's kind of why I like what you're doing, is that you're like, hey, listen, these are the, you talk about your routine when you wake up. You talk about your creed. We're going to go through the Limbwalker creed. You talk about what a Limbwalker is, which is somebody willing to take risks. But you're not jamming it down anybody's throat. And I think that's key to this message.
I would agree. I mean, as you said, these are kind of reintroduced ideas that have been around for years and years, but ideas that have worked personally for me. For each person, there's something different that elevates their desire to go further. And it doesn't mean that the people who desire to just stay, as we have talked often, hugging the tree, and the security that goes with it, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're happy with that, God bless. for those people who want to take that step and maybe get a little touch of what it's like to go a little further away from that trunk and walk and risk on that limb a little bit, then this is something they want to hear. And again, none of it's new. It's all old spiel that's been around for years. It's just what works for you to make it happen. That's all.
So this is, we want to talk specifically today about a creed that Will has kind of used, and I think you come back to it a lot, right?
Yep.
But I'm just going to read through the 10, and then we're going to go, I think on the last podcast we did, the very first one, we're going to move to the second one here. But the number 1 is, I am special and unique. I will define a vision and plan for my life. That's number 2. Number 3 is, I will be self-disciplined. Number 4, positive attitude. 5, work hard. 6, go the extra mile, which is really work hard in a different package. 7 is, look for the best in everyone. 8, learn from adversity. And 9, help others grow. And 10, honor time. Now, I know that last one kind of piques your interest, but we're going in order. And we're today going to talk about a vision and a plan. What's that mean to you?
What that means is finding, if you're able to, some people never do, but it's finding something that just excites you to the point that you will do anything to make it happen. That's how success happens. You won't find people, they may be successful working for somebody and completing all the tasks of their normal job, but if you want to go above and beyond that, you really need to find something that old statement, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. If you can find that, everything simplifies. Let me do something, Jim. I brought my famous book, which I know you love here.
You know what? You gave me one, which is very expensive book, by the way. It's hardbound. I look through it from time to time.
Yep.
Some of them are just kind of funny and smart aleck people. And there's a lot of Mark Twain in there. There's even some Charles Bukowski in there, that kind of stuff. But some of these old Greek philosophers had some really cool things to say. But you're going to read from who today? I'm
going to read, actually, it's Oscar Hammerstein, the producer of South Pacific, said, if you don't have a dream, how are you going to make a dream come true? So you got to have a dream. That's one. Let me find another one.
Hold on a second. If you don't have a dream, how are you going to make a dream come true? Okay.
Number 2, dream lofty dreams, and as you dream, so shall you become. Your vision is the promise of what you shall one day be. Your ideal is the prophecy of what you shall at last unveil. Basically, I could read all of these. They all say the same thing. And what they're saying is, if you don't dream it, and find that dream that you love, you will not put in the time and the effort to ever make that dream come true.
So there's 2 parts to this. There's the vision and there's the strategy. There's the dream, there's the vision and the plan. There's, synonyms would be dreams and the strategy. So let's start with that first part. The vision and dream, which we're talking about, right? If you don't have a dream, how are you going to make a dream come true? Very well put. But the downside of kind of living in a dream is that it can be all-encompassing, or you may not put in the kind of work that you thought you were gonna because it's the wrong dream. It's not a real dream. And then sometimes it's a dream that you just can't make happen, and there's a reality and you got to chuck it and go to the next dream.
That's true.
So there are caveats to, like saying, hey, I got a mission, I got a vision, and I'm just gonna go to the other parts of your creed and work hard and go the extra mile, and so So, I mean, when you're looking at, everybody's got some little ideas. Sometimes they don't share with people. This is what I would like to make happen in my life before my time's up, right?
Yep.
This is the impact I want to have on the world. And, how do you go about recognizing what's real and what's not?
I mean, I think sometimes what you dream about is not real, but you can make it that. I mean, when I left Prudential after 2 years as an employee and opened my own agency, it was a very scary time, but it was something I wanted to do. I had always seen it in our family. Family members had their own businesses, and I knew ultimately that's where I wanted to end up. So when that opportunity came, it was a planned opportunity. I didn't get fired or anything, so I had to find it. It was, hey, I'm not happy doing things the way I'm doing them, but I'm very happy doing what I do, which was the insurance business. And then I just set out to make that happen. And it's your dream kind of elevates itself as you move along. And as you succeed, you get rewarded. And as you get rewarded, you work harder and you expand your wings to know more and become better prepared for doing what you're doing. But I think having a love for it, a passion for it, has enabled me to take what started out as a job to just have a job until I got a real job, being in something other than the insurance business, into a career. And into a career that was good enough that enabled me to do some of the other things that I've had as dreams forever, which, I mean, I shared with you, I went to see Zig Ziglar one time, and I thought, someday I want to do that. I never wanted to do it to the level he did in front of thousands of people. I wanted to do it personally, one-on-one with people, deal with a small group where you could have an impact, people could ask questions. So I wrote that down, that I wanted that. I also wrote down a dream that I wanted to have Zig Ziglar come and speak to a group of people that I brought together. And that happened because it was something that I wrote down in a variety of places. By the way, that's the key. You have a dream, there is a process to it. You have something you want. You write that dream down on a piece of paper, and then you multiply it times 5. So you do 5 different sheets or memo pads that say, I want to do this, achieve this. Put one on your mirror in the morning when you go to shave or when you go to clean up or brush your teeth. Put one on the dash of your car. Put one on the side of your bed. Put one on your office desk. And that dream sheet you read again and again, which basically makes it through your subconscious mind, you pick up on that. And then the key is to begin to develop the passion to want that dream to happen. So seeing something you would be rewarded for by having that dream achieved. But it's having that vision. I mean, every Friday, I rewrite still to this day. Every Friday on a yellow pad, I write my dream list. And I write it, and then the next Friday I rewrite it. And slowly but surely, everything on that dream list happens. Because I do something to make it happen, because I'm reminded again and again, there's a driving passion to make it happen. And I keep working at it, which gives me a sense of accomplishment as I accomplish little steps to get there. I mean, right now, the dream I have is sitting back and looking at a world that's all screwed up, mental illness problems all over the place. And there are terrific organizations out there to help people get through those mental illness issues. My dream is to develop a program that people can do through schools before they get to the point where they have those issues and breakdowns. They learn how to cope with them in advance by having a set of rules to follow. And that's one of the things I'm going to be working on until the day I die.
This podcast, the Limbwalkers podcast, is certainly on Apple, Spotify, Adriana, the producer back there, I don't know where else you have it. Can you tell us, is it just on Apple and Spotify? Where else would that be?
It's on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts, Amazon, Audible, and then also all of them are being posted to YouTube as well. But that's slowly, surely going to be getting every single episode up. That is still a newer thing, and eventually these podcast tapings will be live on YouTube as well.
So some might be listening on the radio too, so I got to reintroduce it. We're talking to Will Glaros of the Limbwalkers podcast. Here's an interesting one at a different level on a dream. You know, Adriana has come in here, and I said, well, let's start a podcast network because it will make it easier for us to run the radio all the time, and eventually we will get to the point where AI will run it all for us, and we will have less man hours and be able to do more stuff. Now, she's taken it and has kind of made it her dream. And in a weird way that I was a little surprised, like, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that. And I'm like, all right, well, you know, let's just take our time. You know, these things take time. And your dream is what now?
My dream is, the ultimate goal is to be able to work within media, within advertising, promotion, whatever it may be, whether it be television broadcast and or radio, and make it into something that not only, yes, you always want to be able to benefit your company, the job you work at, but also to benefit those who are the consumer. And if at all possible, to be able to have media in a sense that is free for people, so that way it's not so much based on opinion and kind of propaganda, but more so that it's media that people can enjoy and look to, and that's something that can help people every single day.
You know what I need to do? I need to, in fact, maybe I'll have her as my guest when you're gone, the 31st, have my daughter in.
There you go.
To chit-chat with you a little bit. Have you met her yet?
I have not.
She, in fact, would you believe this week, Megan had lunch on Monday with Marissa and, I can't think of the
Kate.
Not Kate. The people that were on CBS with her in Chicago. And one is, Marissa is basically just being a mother at this point in time, and the other girl is Erin
That's
Kennedy.
Right.
She's working for a firm up in, not in the news business, but using those talents up in Minneapolis. And it was kind of interesting seeing the three. They were, you know, I saw some pieces the other day that the number of people that stopped watching CBS because they got rid of those three when they went through their downsizing is incredible. But whatever, it is what it is.
So in terms of the vision of, you know, part of like what are you going to do with your career and what are you going to do with your life, that example, like your daughter Megan was in a weather woman in Chicago at the top of her game. New York, and now she is working with you.
Yep.
In the insurance business. I mean, people take turns, you know, they take pivots. And like Zoe Mintz was intern here, and then she went on. Now she's the weather woman in San Francisco for CBS and for the West Coast. And I wonder what Megan's suggestions to Adriana would be. We can't even conjecture, but Zoe's were pretty direct. Don't wait, move now. There's no need. They want young talent, and you gotta just go for it. And I was like, whoa, that was pretty direct.
You know, people hesitate because they're afraid of failure. And that's an easy way to get around it, is to just defer and say, well, I'll make up my mind later. And sometimes, you know, the future, what's that old statement? The future belongs to the bold. I'm reading right now a book on Robert E. Lee, and it's really kind of interesting because in the book he relates a lot to Jeb Stuart and his this guy was a wild man. I mean, he would disappear with his troops and then reappear, and he was bold. He'd go in and with fewer men crush the enemy, then disappear, and they'd be looking for him. Then he'd strike over here and over there. You've got to be bold. You've got to be different. People have to remember you. And they do because of the things you do that are different than anybody else.
Now, we talk about having the dream, and you could just feel the energy from you and kind of young dreams over there about her career and, trying to have a certain kind of information she would like to present to people. Certainly what we're doing right now would hopefully fit in that. But you got to execute it. You've got a dream, and then you have to have a plan. So this part of the Limbwalkers Creed is called, I will define a vision and plan for my life. Now, you can define, you talked about defining the dream. How do you define a plan?
Well, the plan basically just takes a lot of hard work and effort, and it changes all the time as things change. I mean, what I did, which was kind of odd in the business, was rather than go out and make a bunch of cold calls, which is the standard way to get business, I decided to build, my plan was to build credibility. So what I did, and I was young, so people are going to look at me and go, now this 25-year-old kid, I mean, by the time I actually got into the business that I changed to, which was the health and benefits portion of it, I was probably 30. So I still have to prove to a lot of people that they should consider doing business with us. So we began doing a lot of seminars. And in those seminars, we would educate people on things that they weren't most likely getting from their current brokers that were general purpose insurance agencies. And over time, what happened was those people who weren't getting the answers that we were providing to them from their own people that they were working with started coming to us to become customers. And rather than just say, whoa, we've made it, we've got this block of business, we kept doing those to continually educate the people we now worked with, not the ones we hope to work with. And it was that educational, I'm a big believer in education. The more people know, the better able they are to do their jobs. And that's our job, is to prepare them for that. So we did everything through seminar, to the point we'd have a seminar and we'd invite prospective clients to it. And we had our customers sitting with those clients, so we didn't even have to sell. The people would say, well, where are you getting your stuff on this? Well, we get it from Will Glares, from Employer Benefit Systems at that time. And that education developed confidence and then pushed it into the front where people were basically doing our sales job for us at these events. And we would add people, and then we'd do another seminar 3 or 6 months later. And we'd add some more people. And the other thing that was always important was when anybody calls and has a problem, initially there was nothing but the phone. So that you had to respond, and you had to do it by phone, so you're talking live. Well, as mass media and virtual media has taken over, you can put that off. To this day, if I was still operating, which I am to a degree on a limited basis, everything I try to do is in person with the customer. It's hard for a customer not to learn when they're sitting across a table from you. It's hard for them to get mad at you if you're dealing with a touchy subject and a problem maybe that needs to be corrected when you face somebody face to face and they're willing to face you. It's showing you have the confidence and you have the desire to correct whatever issue's been had, or that you're going to do your best effort to go as far as you can to correct it. It's that sense of confidence that's a kind of a sidebar to sales and marketing, but it's part of it.
So to break it down, you have the dream and the vision, and then you had the plan, using the seminars, using the education, building a base of credibility to achieve the vision.
Yep, exactly.
Why don't we end right there?
Sounds good.
He's Will Galeros. I'm Jim Deedlow. This is the Limbwalkers podcast. If you're listening on AM 1230 WJOB or 1047 or watching on the JED TV network, you can go and get all of these Limbwalkers units on Apple, Spotify, and all the other Audible and anywhere you get your podcasts. Will is finding his voice. You're finding your voice, my friend. I know it's all about, hey, Jimmy, you this, and, pointing things out and so forth. But it is refreshing to see a guy find his voice. So thank you for doing this.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Thanks to Adriana for producing. Until next time, we'll see you later.
This has been Limbwalkers podcast, coming to you from the JED TV studios on the campus of Purdue Northwest in Hammond, Indiana. Thank you for listening.